Autumn had just came to the island. The leaves were changing from green to brown, and the fields were changing from yellow stubble to brown earth. During this time of the year, leaves fell from the trees and onto the rails, which made them slippery. So the engines have to take extra care while they work through the season. Not everyone likes autumn, especially Duncan. Alright Duncan, let's get to work. Okay, and about time too. Duncan is an engineer who always complains himself, only most of the time. Good morning, Duncan.
Oh, what's so good about it? I happened to wait all morning for my crew to arrive, and an important engine like me has to fetch his own coaches.
Well, all engines have to fetch their own trains.
That's what you think, and if the leaves are causing any hazards to the rails, then that means more hanging about.
Duncan does odd jobs on the Skarloey Railway, but he is only used to pull passenger trains and not hauling goods.
Stop grumbling, Duncan. It's always me who's always grumbling. Ouch! And there goes my wobbly wheels. Oh, well, that was close.
Hello, Duncan. How are you doing?
Not very well, as you can see, Rusty. I nearly passed the red signal.
Why don't you use your sandbox?
I used up all of my sand, and I suspect there's none left at the depot either.
See you later, Duncan. At the end of the line, Duncan arrived at Croven's gate, and there he met Skarloey.
Hello, Duncan. Is everything alright? Not at all, Skarloey. All this extra work, carrying passengers, hauling freight, is slowing me down.
Oh my. That night, in the sheds, the engines were talking about Duncan. Duncan has complained to me about leaves causing problems to the rails. And he told me there's no sand at the depot for our sandboxes, but there's plenty.
He told me that all the extra work he was given is slowing him down.
Duncan seems determined to turn this time of the year into one big chore. Take no notice of him, guys. We all know how he is. Right now, let's all get some sleep. The next morning, Duncan was even more grumpy than ever. He was sent to work at the transfer yards with Rusty. Just then, Thomas arrived to collect coal from Rusty's train. Hello, Rusty. Hello, Thomas. Has Duncan gone crazy again? Yes, unfortunately. But he won't be like this for long, because he's scheduled to pull another passenger train later. But he's still grumbling about the extra work given for this season. Rusty was right. When Duncan pulled the coaches, he was smiling. But all the same, he felt stress of the day's work. As he went on, he began to rock and roll on the tracks. The passengers didn't like it at all. Their luggage fell from their compartments, and their food and drinks were spilled. When they reached the station, the passengers were furious, and they complained to the station master. But Duncan didn't care. He felt pleased with himself. When Duncan arrived back at the depot, he heard a familiar voice. Duncan! Duncan knew who it was. It was Mr. Percival. Duncan, I have just heard from Rusty that you have been causing trouble at the transfer yards, and I've received lots of complaints from your passengers.
The passengers are just being silly, sir.
Honestly, Duncan, we are supposed to look after our passengers. And I think it's high time you should change your attitude. But until you do, I am taking your coaches away. When evening came, all the engines assembled at the sheds. What has gotten you in such a bad mood this time?
Mr. Percival says I need to change my attitude.
I think he's right, Duncan.
No, he's not. What's wrong with my attitude?
Well, just look at that pouty face. There's no engine who can make a pouty face better than Duncan. How about this face?
How about me?
Never mind, Duncan. Whatever is bothering you will soon get better in the morning. But the next morning, not much had changed. Duncan?
What? Sir.
Oh, don't you remember what I said about changing your attitude? Oh, you don't expect me to let you pull passengers with a face like that, do you? Don't you want a job today, Duncan?
What does it matter what I want?
Very well. You can stay here then, in the shed. How about you just apologize and don't sulk?
I don't care. Maybe we should just give him some time alone. Right now, let's all get to work.
It was no fun sitting in the shed doing nothing. All Duncan can do is watch trains puffing past. The next day, Mr. Percival came to see Duncan. Come on out, Duncan. I cannot let you stay in there sulking all day. Duncan tried to put things right.
I'm sorry for causing so much trouble yesterday, sir, and I'll try to behave.
That's good, because I expect you to be on your best behavior, so no grumbling.
Yes, of course, sir.
Coal cars? You expect me to pull such dirty coal cars? That's right, you have to deliver them to the transfer yards for Thomas to collect. But that's Luke's job. Luke is having a day off, and it's Mr. Percival's orders. Oh. Unfortunately, Duncan is in too much of a bad mood to work quickly, and it took him ages to get to the transfer yards with the coal. And even longer to get back to the depot. Duncan, you need to take these cars to the slate quarry. And he still didn't get any coaches to pull. Duncan, I almost had as many complaints about you like I had yesterday. You were going around sulking, being rude to the other engines, and taking far too long to get their cars where they need to be. You need to learn how to change your own attitude, young steam engine.
He's always changed my attitude. How can I change my attitude?
The sun was setting when Duncan had just finished shunting in the depot. Alright, we're done here for today. Now let's head back to the sheds.
For buffer's sake, Peter Sam, what is the hold-up?
Sorry, Duncan. My wheels just kept slipping on the leaves.
Can't you just use a little bit of sand?
I'm afraid my sandbox is empty and I am low on water. Duncan realized that by getting cross, he had hurt Peter Sam's feelings. So he decided to help.
Peter Sam, I can help you back to the depot for water. Then I can help you over the hill.
Peter Sam felt grateful. Thank you, Duncan. Duncan helped the train back to the depot where Peter Sam can take on water. I'm ready, Duncan.
So am I.
And the two engines puffed off for the hill. The hill was steep, and the leaves made the tracks very slippery. Luckily, Duncan has plenty of sand to grip on the rails, and he gave Peter Sam a great heave to help him on his way again. Thank you, Duncan. Duncan felt exhausted when he reached the top of the hill, but he was happy because he had been helpful. At the sheds, Duncan told the other engines about what he had been doing. The engines were impressed. Good job, Duncan. That is very helpful of you to help another engine.
Oh, it's nothing really.
Just then, Peter Sam arrived, and on board was Mr. Percival. Duncan felt nervous.
Oh dear, what is he going to say?
But Mr. Percival was smiling. Well done, Duncan. I was on board Peter Sam's train and I saw everything. Without your help, then his train would have been delayed. You are a really useful engine.
Oh, thank you, sir. And from now on, I will never rock and roll again. And I'll try not to grumble either.
That is very good, Duncan, and keep it up.
You know, Duncan, even though you grumble so much, but that's just who you are.
and it doesn't make you any less useful. Soon, Duncan is back to pulling coaches again, and this time, he never rock and roll again. Although he couldn't help but grumble, but the engines didn't mind, because they all like him just the way he is. Can you guess who this is? Keep guessing. Did you guess? It's Henry.
Hello, I am Henry, the Green Engine. We all hope you enjoyed this episode. If you'd like to watch the previous episode, the link is in the description. Please do like it and subscribe to our channel so you can always be notified. And stay tuned for the next episode next month.